welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I post lifestyle and travel videos here on YouTube. If you already follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, I post daily. Today we're going to be talking about the jobs I've had since I started working. Now, I started working at a very young age. I started working when I was around 11 and 12, and my first job that I got was a newspaper carrier at the Economist and Sun. I believe this newspaper carrier exists to this day because we don't even read newspapers anymore. But from what I can remember as a kid, I've always wanted a job because I wanted to help my family out. I was the eldest, and this job we actually did as an entire family, and let me tell you, it was a hard job. From a young age, I realized how hard it was to earn money, and back in the day, it was hard to earn money. Like, I think we only earned like a couple of cents per newspaper, and we took on, the most routes we took on was 6 routes that we did. And if you've done newspaper carrying before, you know that it's hard. You have to assemble the papers and wrap it up and then deliver it. You had to deliver it at a certain time. And we did this as a family. I did it on and off for about 4 years. I stopped officially when I entered high school, but it was definitely a learning lesson, and I did end up saving a little bit of money from it because I always hated asking my parents for money. I don't think I've ever asked my parents for money. I've always wanted like little gifts here and there, maybe for like special occasions, but I've always felt guilty using parents' money, so that's my very first job. And rain or shine, it was hard. It's also like kind of like a family bonding activity, but as I grew a little bit older, I realized to myself, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. I wish I would hurry up and turn 16 so I can get a proper job, because 16 was the legal age to work where I live in Ontario. Now, the second job that I've ever worked was actually as a server at a dim sum restaurant, and my mom started working here ever since she immigrated in Canada. So she did that when we were younger, and then she had to quit because she had to take care of her kids. But I only got in because I think I begged my mom to kind of get me in there because I was so desperate earning money. Little did I know that's probably like one of the worst jobs you can ever get, especially as a like first generation and as a CBC. My Cantonese was absolutely horrible, and the people there are brutal. I remember I cried on my first day because not only was I the youngest there, everybody there were middle-aged ladies mostly, but the customers were tough, and if you do something wrong or you mess up, it's kind of on your own. And yeah, I remember the first day I cried and bawled my eyes out. And how we were paid, I think we were paid like $5 an hour, or was it $10 an hour? It was like way below minimum wage, and your tips you get like at the end of the day. It was a cash job, and I didn't last that long there. I think I've only lasted a month there, and I was like, Mom, I have to quit. Mom also joined me too for a little bit, and people were constantly comparing this, but I'll never forget that I knew I didn't want to be working that kind of job. I knew I had to work hard in school to make sure that I would never end up there, because serving is hard. Customer service is hard. So I still remember I begged my mom to get that job because I was 15, and at 15 there are only a select number of jobs that you can get for yourself, and I believe I was getting rejected left, right, and center. Like, I applied to, where did I apply? I applied to Cineplex, McDonald's, Value Village. I remember I applied to Value Village, and turns out you had to be like 16 to get in, so I was rejected because of my age. But this dim sum job, I did not last long. I was pushing carts, the doufu fa cart, because it was like the most simplest thing to do. But scooping it, you have to scoop it the proper way. So I remember them training me, and then I couldn't really do any other dishes because like my Chinese was so bad. Quitting. I'll just wait for a proper job. And then come along afterwards, I applied to this job at a bubble tea store, and I got in, but I was like let go the first day of training, and it was unpaid. And they no longer exist, which I guess it's karma on them because they knew that I couldn't speak Mandarin, and that's apparently why they let me go, because I couldn't speak Mandarin. That was like a requirement that they had, but it wasn't advertised on the posting. But I still remember it was like near my house. I applied to the interview. They went through training, and I remember working at a bubble tea chain. It's actually not as easy as it seems because you have to remember how to make certain things. You have to memorize drink combinations. Like, it's not like you can just look at the recipe, but I'm pretty sure like in day-to-day life you're not gonna have everything memorized. But anyways, aside from the fact that training was unpaid, never go for a job that training is unpaid. That was like the number one first red flag for me. And then after that, my first real job was in grade 11. I still remember how this all unfolded. I was in the mall with my friend, and at that point I was like religiously applying to jobs because I really wanted to work. I really wanted a job to save money to, you know, use on things that I wanted to buy. And this job, back in the day, we handed out resumes. So I had, well, at this time I didn't have resumes printed, but we were walking in the mall. I saw that they were the hiring sign at Cinnabon, and I went to ask about it, and they said just bring your resume. So I think I brought my resume either the same day or like the next day. I came in, asked to speak to the manager, and handed my resume in. And then I didn't hear from them for a few days, so I actually called in to them and asked if my resume was looked at, and like, just, I don't remember what question. It's been a long time, like been a decade since I started that, since I worked there, like the first time I worked there. So it's been over a decade. And anyways, I think she called me back later. She's like, hey, come in for an interview. And then we did the interview, gave me the offer, and she said the only reason why she even like gave me the job was actually because they were looking for a male to work, and because there's a lot of labor work. But then she saw how much I really wanted the job, that's why she decided to hire me. And lo and behold, I ended up working there for over 4 years, like throughout my entire high school. And overall it was a good experience, but I've had some like ups and downs there, as well as given with any job. But I grew very attached to that job, and I learned a lot from that job. I managed to secure 2 promotions, which didn't really mean anything in terms of pay, because I was promoted to crew leader like literally 2 months into my job, and I was like the youngest person there, so no one took me seriously as someone to train. So that was kind of hard to navigate. I really had to develop my own backbone and confidence in myself as a trainer. And then I was eventually promoted to an assistant manager without the benefits. Like, I was just an hourly assistant manager, and I learned a lot of things from working there. So it's a job where I made a lot of good memories and experienced a lot of bad memories, but overall I am happy to see where I am today. And then after that, I worked there until I landed my flying job. So after graduation from college, I was hired at an airline for like 2 months after I graduated, which is really good. And I left, and I've been flying ever since. Been flying technically with the same company, but I've moved to the other side, the mainline side. I flew regional on the regional side for 4 years, and I've been at my current mainline for almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in August. Since then, during my flying time, I started 2 businesses that have, I would say, pretty much failed because I never put too much thought into it. I feel like I gave up pretty easily, and it became a big financial burden, and it's still haunting me to this day. Like, I'm still recovering from it, but I did learn a lot of skills, and it was a learning experience, so I don't regret doing it, but I wish I did things differently. Started like a beauty business and opened up a store. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just done it from home, but I'm stubborn and I really have to learn the hard way in order to get it. So I did that for about 2 years, and it was during the pandemic, which is also a bad idea. Don't start a business during the pandemic, or that kind of business that's going to be heavily affected by the pandemic. So yeah, and then I did a web design business. I did it because I thought I was really good at it. I still think I'm good at it, but it's hard to market yourself in something that's very saturated. When I go back, maybe one day, right now I'm at a place in my life where I'm kind of like in between careers and like focusing on another thing. I started taking content creation seriously, and I've been paid by brands. I've worked with brands, I've worked with hotels and stuff. So it's really fun. So that's what I'm currently doing now. And I hope to actually switch careers. I feel like my time with flying is slowly coming to an end, and I'm just openly looking for new opportunities in like the marketing sector. But as you know, the job market is very competitive right now. So in the meantime, I'm just focusing on my freelance stuff, you know, trying to get projects here and there, and passively applying to jobs, and just enjoying where I am at life right now, because I feel like right now it's kind of like a weird place for me to be, but I am really proud to see how much I've grown. And it's funny because I started in high school wanting to become a teacher, and then here I am now. I pursued entrepreneurship, I pursued working as a flight attendant, and now I'm putting myself out there on the internet. It's crazy how life takes, gaining these little experiences that kind of turns into something bigger. And I hope whoever's watching this realizes that it's okay to change your mind, follow a new path, find something new to do, because life is all about learning, experiencing. It's okay if you thought of this whole life for yourself and now it doesn't work for you anymore. It's confusing and scary, but I promise you, taking the risk is so much better than not taking it at all, regretting that and wishing that you did.